Have you noticed how gin has completely transformed? It used to have this reputation as a harsh, almost medicinal spirit. But now it's everywhere, dressed up in beautiful pastel bottles, infused with dreamy botanicals like rose, cucumber, and lavender. The cocktails look gorgeous, the flavors are playful, and all the marketing screams light, refreshing, and totally harmless. But let's be honest. Beneath all the blush-colored drinks and trendy menus, there's a real question we need to ask, especially if you're re-evaluating your relationship with alcohol. Is gin actually good for you? Or is this just another brilliant marketing trick? Getting to the truth about this iconic spirit isn't just about trivia, it's about empowerment. When we understand how alcohol really works, what myths are clouding our judgment, and how our bodies react, we can make choices that truly protect our well-being. And if you're on a recovery journey, this kind of clarity is a powerful anchor. So let's take a walk through the real story of gin, its romanticized past, its misunderstood chemistry, its true effects, and how you can use this knowledge to live a healthier, more intentional life. First, what is gin really? It's a distilled spirit, just like vodka, rum, or whiskey. It starts with a fermented grain mix like wheat or barley, which is then distilled to create a high-proof alcohol. The magic ingredient that makes gin is juniper berries. They give it that signature sharp, piney aroma. From there, distillers add all sorts of other botanicals, coriander, citrus, peels, licorice, sometimes dozens of different herbs and spices. Every brand guards its recipe like a family secret. The flavor is extracted in two main ways, either by steeping the botanicals directly in the spirit, like making a giant cup of tea, or through vapor infusion, where the alcohol vapor passes through the botanicals and picks up their flavors. That botanical bouquet feels so natural, so earthy. It's easy to see why gin has been mistaken as a health drink throughout history. But we'll get to that myth in a minute. Despite the huge variety in taste, most gins land at around 40% alcohol by volume or 80 proof. Some craft versions are even stronger. At the end of the day, gin is ethanol, a chemical that affects every single organ in your body. Now, let's look at its nutritional profile. A standard 1.5-ounce shot of gin has about 97 calories. It has 0 sugar, 0 carbs, 0 protein, and 0 nutrients. All those calories come from the alcohol itself. While gin alone has no sugar, most people don't drink it straight. This is where the health halo starts to fade. A single can of tonic water can pack over 30 grams of sugar. Suddenly, your light drink has the same calories as a soda. And if you add in flavored syrups, juices, or fancy liqueurs, those numbers climb fast. In other words, gin is only low-calorie if you drink it neat, and that's not how most of us enjoy it. The history of gin is filled with myths. It has always had this strange double identity. On one hand, a healing botanical elixir, and on the other, a destructive force. Back in the 1700s, gin was actually sold as a health tonic. It was cheap and easy to get, and it quickly became the drink of the masses during England's infamous gin craze. The societal collapse that followed was devastating. Widespread addiction, families torn apart, and a public health crisis so bad the government had to step in. Despite this dark past, a lot of those old myths still linger today. Myth number 1. Juniper berries make gin healthy. Sorry, but no. While juniper berries do have antioxidants, the distillation process completely wipes out any meaningful nutritional value. You're left with the flavor, not the health benefits. Myth number 2. Gin and tonic prevents malaria. This one comes from history. British soldiers used to drink tonic water for its quinine, and they added gin to make the bitter taste more bearable. But the tonic water we drink today has only a tiny trace of quinine, nowhere near enough to have any medical effect. Myth number 3. Gin is a low-calorie, healthier alcohol. Again, not when you add sugary mixers. A standard G&T is around 140 calories. And how about the myths that gin helps with your skin or digestion? The opposite is true. Alcohol dehydrates your skin, makes inflammation worse, and irritates your digestive system. The tiny amount of botanical compounds in gin can't even begin to counteract those effects. Same goes for any anti-inflammatory claims. Alcohol itself is an inflammatory substance that contributes to chronic diseases. So while the marketing for gin is all about nature, herbs, berries, and flowers, the reality for your body is far less wholesome. Even in moderate amounts, gin immediately affects your judgment, coordination, and decision-making. That clear, crisp flavor might make it feel light, but its effects are just as potent as any other spirit. Your risk of accidents goes up, your inhibitions drop, and for many, regret is waiting the next morning. Beyond the classic hangover symptoms, headache, dry mouth, and fatigue, drinking too much gin can lead to severe dehydration, vomiting, and even dangerous levels of alcohol poisoning. These are all SOS signals from your body. Over the long term, the risks of regular gin consumption are serious. All alcohol contains ethanol, and its toxicity can cause wide-ranging harm. It puts a huge strain on your liver, which can lead to fatty liver disease, alcoholic hepatitis, and cirrhosis. Gin is no exception. It also increases your blood pressure and heart rate, raising the long-term risk of cardiovascular disease. It messes with your gut health, and chronic drinking can impact your memory, learning, and overall brain health, even increasing the risk of dementia. And we know that even small amounts of alcohol raise the risk for several types of cancer. Because of its smooth taste and trendy image, gin's potency can be easy to forget, which increases the risk for developing tolerance, withdrawal, and alcohol use disorder, especially if it becomes a way to cope with stress. So how does gin compare to other alcohols? Dark spirits like whiskey and rum contain more congeners, which are byproducts that can make hangovers worse. Gin has fewer, so the next day might feel slightly better, but this doesn't reduce the long-term health risks. Compared to wine, which has a few antioxidants, the negative effects of the alcohol still far outweigh any benefits. And while beer has more calories and carbs, the core risk from the alcohol itself is the same across the board. A quick word on flavored gins. Pink gin, rhubarb gin, even marshmallow gin have exploded in popularity. Their sweet, fruity flavors are great at masking the harsh taste of alcohol, which can lead you to drink faster and consume more than you realize. This trend is a lot like the rise of alcopops years ago, drinks that feel harmless but pack a serious punch. The danger isn't just in the alcohol content, but in the illusion of safety they create. If you're looking to change your relationship with alcohol, a powerful first step is to approach your habits with curiosity, not shame. If you're trying to cut back or stop drinking, a few mindful strategies can help. First, just observe. Track when, why, and how much you drink. Think like a scientist gathering data, not a judge handing down criticism. Next, make a plan before you're in a social situation. Decide on your limits ahead of time and have a few responses ready for when people offer you a drink. Remember, you never owe anyone an explanation for putting your health first. Find your support system. Whether it's friends, a community, a coach, or an app, you don't have to do this alone. And try to replace drinking with activities you genuinely enjoy. This isn't about losing something. It's about gaining back your time for things that bring you real joy, like hiking, creating art, or learning a new skill. And most importantly, ask for help when you need it. Therapists and support groups are incredible resources for building healthier coping strategies. If you do choose to drink, it's good to know the official guidelines. Moderate drinking is defined as up to 1 drink per day for women and up to 2 for men. For gin, 1 standard drink is 1.5 ounces. Try to schedule alcohol-free days to give your body a break, and always measure your pours at home. It's easy to pour a double without realizing it. Also, pay attention to the psychological signs. If you find yourself thinking, I need a drink to relax, or I can't have fun without alcohol, these are gentle signals that it's starting to play an emotional role. Noticing that pattern is a huge victory in itself. So, let's circle back to the big question. Is gin good for you? The straightforward answer is no. It's not a health food. It's not better for you than wine, beer, or whiskey. It doesn't give you any real botanical benefits. But here's the empowering truth. Gin isn't uniquely bad for you either. It's an alcoholic spirit, and the risks simply grow the more you drink. Your real power isn't in fearing one type of alcohol over another, but in awareness. When you approach drinking with clarity, you can reshape your choices and your entire relationship with it. Choosing recovery, whether that means sobriety or just being more mindful, is choosing a future with more energy, more presence, and more freedom. You're not giving something up. You're reclaiming your life. Every step you take is a profound act of self-respect. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content to help you live a healthier, more intentional life. This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any condition or disease. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your health, medication, or treatment plan. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you have seen in this video.